Hi, this is Christina with SedonaMedium.com, and I'm going to talk to you about signs or how to tell whether you are an empath or someone around you happens to be an empath. But I'm going to use mostly the term whether you are an empath. If you're not sure what that means, go to a previous video where we talk briefly about what does it mean to be an empath. So a lot of empaths feel in their life emotionally out of control, like they're up and down. One minute they're fine, the next minute they walk through Walmart and they're overwhelmed, they're exhausted, they're feeling frustrated, and they're not sure where it's all coming from. And it's a while of being alone before it seems like it just resolves itself with no real sense of understanding. Most people feel like they're doing a lot of this in an unmanaged empath, a lot of emotional roller coaster. In addition to that, being very sensitive, very compassionate, it's easy to empathize for the empath because they're truly able to very easily see and feel what it's like to be another person. And so they have a heightened empathic ability. And through that, that can be a little bit challenging and difficult to do things like watch the news or see things on Facebook or other social media or references to things where people are having a really difficult time or suffering in some way. It usually sticks with the empath a lot longer than it would someone else, and it's difficult for them. Sometimes people, empaths, will lose sleep over the amount of suffering and concern for other people. That can happen as well. And it's very difficult because they have a tendency to take it very personally and can be very challenging on their own emotional system. A real connection with animals and a sense of being able to understand nature in a way that some people don't seem to. So the sense of feeling a tree, feeling the blades of grasses, understanding what an animal is sensing and feeling and trying to communicate. Those are all wonderful gifts of the empath. Empaths also have a tendency to be people-pleasing because it makes them uncomfortable when they're in a conversation and perhaps they're going to say something that might hurt the other person's feelings or upset them in some way, and they just feel very uncomfortable because they know they're going to feel all that energy too in a sort of a magnified way, and they have to sit across the table with that person who is not happy with them, and that can just be torture for your empath. And so rather than going through that torture, a lot of times they'll sort of avoid confrontation and sort of just try and satisfy things so they don't have to go through that really uncomfortable situation. A sensitivity to touch, that would be another symptom. So people who are empaths are extremely able to pick up on the energy that's behind touch. So based on what their own personal mood is, they may not want to be touched. In addition, you know, unless you're a certain person, they probably don't want to pick up on your energy residue. So you sort of reach over to touch them, and a little part of them inside is going, yeah! That can be a symptom of being an empath. Okay. Being able to feel energies in a space or feeling uncomfortable in certain areas. So if you're walking around and you're sort of sensing, oh, I don't want to go in there, or something's not quite right, or something's a little off there, or you walk into a room and it's really easy for you to sense if there's tension in the air or someone just had an argument, you're going to pick up on all that information. That's definitely a big sign. Being tired a lot and difficulty sort of processing things with people, needing to take time and take time away to sort of know how you really feel. So you might be in a situation where you're talking to someone who's really excited about something, and suddenly you're really excited about it, and oh, this is great, and then you walk away and you're alone by yourself, and then you go, I don't know why I was so excited about that. What happened? You're picking up on that other energy. So it's really important to, if you're an empath, to kind of take your time and take your space away so that you're able to discern how you really feel about a situation as well. Feeling tired in crowds or big groups, or particularly if you go to an emotional situation, a graduation, a funeral, memorial service, those types of things can all be, big trigger with the amount of energy that you get a little bit overloaded with, and then tired after that time. Not necessarily feeling like yourself around other people, needing space and time away to, again, discern how you feel about things. And you're going to generally, as an empath, feel more comfortable in your own bubble and safe in your own bubble than kind of bombarded by all the information sometimes that you might receive. Crystals and nature beings, people who have a natural draw towards crystals or environmental elements. We talked about trees, but also just in general nature beings or gardening. A lot of empaths find that it's sort of a place of solace for them, nature and being around nature, and so they gravitate towards that. They gravitate towards being in harmonious spaces. Environment is really significant, so if there's a lot of conflict around, whether that be in your home environment or in your work environment, that's going to have a really big impact on how you're feeling as an empath. And so harmonious environments is also a big deal. And one of the greatest harmonious environments is to get involved in nature. And so that's why empaths have a tendency to really enjoy spending time around nature. If you are a public speaker, if you're a really good salesperson, more than likely you're an empath. And using those abilities to your advancement to help you. So with an empath, there's two things you got to do, two directions, if you will, of management. One is working on preventing yourself from getting overloaded from the receptor perspective, and the other is learning how to clear out energy that's not yours. So it's two different paths. Those will be other videos coming up in the future. If you have any questions about the empath, leave me some questions in the comments. Anyway, thanks for joining me. And again, if you have questions about what it means to be an empath, check out the previous video. Thanks.